on it. Whisper spark and the buzz is humming. There's a shift in the air, numbers climbing high. Every AMA's the bridge to the Y. Questions line up like stars, information. We've been plotting this course, no hesitations. Blue's got a pulse and the beat's on cue. Every word we drop the window into what's new. From the first hello to the closing line, it's a signal flare, it's your moment in time. So tune in, lean closer, we're speaking your name. Every AMA's a torch in the game. Catch the spark, ride the wave, keep the vision in view. You'll hear the future before it breaks through. Roadmaps drawn with precision and care. Every update's a stone on the stair. Questions like keys unlocking the next. Every broadcast connects the dots you expect. Behind the mic there's a pulse we share. A blueprint unfolding, live on air. From milestone wins to the whispers ahead. Blue keeps it real in every word we've said. From the first reveal to the final clue, this is the thread that's pulling you through. So lock in, don't blink, keep your ear on the call. Every AMA's a rise and you're part of it all. Catch the pulse, trace the signs, let the answers break free. The next big moment could start with tuning with me.
Hey guys, hope you guys enjoyed that intro. Thanks to Bob Swigert for that music video. You guys might know him as Elmer Fudnot in the Telegram. Thanks for producing that. That was really fun. So I got a huge AMA for you guys today. We got huge announcements about Book and about Blue. But before I get into any of that, I did just want to touch on MSS, something that we haven't talked about in a while, but as you guys can see from this chart on my screen right now, it's been doing quite well. I just wanted to go over super quick what is causing that, and what MSS looks like in the future. So as some of you guys that are in MSS are probably aware, we had some different sustainability measures. One of the first ones that we introduced was the one where when you claim tokens, it actually reduces your staked balance. That was a pretty good sustainability measure, but it wasn't quite enough. So more recently, we introduced the throttles, and the throttles, ever since we've had those, I've really said that it makes MSS self-healing, right? Like I'm just going to talk real briefly about why that is, and I just got the docs open here about the account throttle and how that works. And essentially, with the throttle, you basically a huge thing that impacts how much you can earn in the future is how much your original deposits are. So I know like a lot of people had this dream with MSS of like having a small initial deposit and then just compounding that to millions of tokens. And while you can do that, the way that the throttle works is, you really need to have a large actual MSS deposit into your staking account to be able to really realize those gains. So, as you can see in the chart here, a lot of the older whales, they would have, they basically have no power anymore, right? Like they've already had their staking accounts depleted from a lot of claiming. They've already claimed a lot, which has got their throttle up a lot higher. So now the guys that are buying big tokens now at these low prices, they're the ones that are going to be able to control the future of MSS, just because they have those big initial deposits. Because you can buy MSS really cheap right now compared to what it was in the past. So this is I think this is a bit of a sleeping giant. So really excited to see what what this chart looks like in the future. So great stuff there, guys, and thanks for everybody in the MSS Telegram that's keeping things exciting and answering everybody's questions. So appreciate you guys. Definitely had to give a shout out here. It's doing great. Let me go over the comments in the stream, and then we'll move on to some book stuff. I'm going to talk about book first, and then I'm going to talk about Blue last. I got some pretty huge news for both that I think you guys are really going to be excited to hear. Hey, Bob Sweegert. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome music video there. I think you can tell by the comments in the stream that everybody really enjoyed that. Let's go. Definitely hit that like and subscribe button. We're actually streaming this one on all 3 YouTube channels, Book, Blue, and MSS. Like the intro. Nice. Bring it on. Dope intro. Yeah, everyone loved that intro. We're going to need a new one for next week. We'll talk more about Blue later on, but yeah, the APY is the exact same for G Blue or S Blue. It just kind of tracks it differently. So let's talk about Book now. Huge development for Book. So I'm not sure how much you guys know about the history of this. I'm just going to kind of explain it a little bit before I get into the development. But when we had that big liquidation hit, what was it, like a month and a half ago now? We had a large investor in the stability pool who ended up receiving a huge amount of Book tokens. And I know that a lot of people, especially like a lot of the guys that are watching the metrics really close, having an individual that, put, I don't know, 100 to 110,000 USDC into Bud and had that Bud converted to Book, it was a little bit of a scary thing for anyone that was following along, just because, there's a lot of unknowns there about when are those tokens going to potentially hit the market. So, I mean, the token count was somewhere above 21 million tokens, like 21 and some change. So I had actually reached out in the Book Telegram to this individual, and I did actually get in contact with them. And yeah, I mean, before I get into what we've kind of worked out, I think that those tokens being there and being, with a lot of uncertainty around it, it made people wary to borrow Bud against their Book. It made people wary to buy Book, just not knowing, when potentially those tokens might get dumped onto the market. So got some great news related to that, and you guys have nothing to worry about. So like I mentioned, I've been in contact with the individual. He's been a real pleasure to work with, and he does not want to harm the Book price at all. So we've worked out a deal. And so essentially we're going to be doing an OTC where I'm going to be purchasing on behalf of the Blue Treasury. The Blue Treasury is going to be using roughly 30,000 USDC to buy Book at current market rate from this individual. And we've also worked out another plan to basically for the remainder of the tokens. But basically what I can assure you guys is that 0 of those tokens are going to hit the open market via sells. So let me actually get into one other thing I wanted to mention to you guys. Just it makes it a little bit easier to explain that. I had been in discussion with a group that was looking to invest $750,000 into Book. And this was probably about, I think it was April or so. But basically, I mean, I was pretty interested in doing that deal, but I was working with someone else at the time who was advising me, and they were against doing an OTC, so we kind of put it on hold. But now, I think that it's a great time now to, start getting some external investors in, especially guys that are, super bullish on Book. So I actually had a really great call with them yesterday, and basically they're still interested, but because our metrics have dropped off a little bit, they want to see the metrics pick up a little bit. So basically they want to see a bit more volume on the chart. So that conversation is still ongoing, but it's a little bit on hold until we get a bit more volume on the chart. But essentially, so this deal that I've worked out for the OTC for the 21 million tokens, essentially we're going to be taking 6 million tokens roughly immediately, and that's going to go straight into the Blue Treasury, which is super bullish for Blue and super bullish for Book. So it's bullish for Blue because, the major thing that I feel was holding Book back was the fact that this individual had such a huge percentage of the supply. And now that that's, now that we know factually that those tokens aren't going to hit the market, that, I'm going to be taking possession of those tokens on behalf of the Blue Treasury. It gives all the book holders and future potential buyers a lot more confidence that, the price is not going to get dumped randomly one day. So, I think that being able to acquire those tokens for the Blue Treasury at the current market rate is a huge win for the Blue protocol. I think it's a huge win for the book community, because for one, as you guys know, with the liquidation events, the Treasury or the book protocol and myself, we lost access to a lot of our book tokens. So we didn't have the same skin in the game as we had previously. Well, that's going to be changing now, because I'm going to be securing those first 6 million of them today. And yeah, so the remaining tokens, the individual is going to be holding on to a couple million tokens because they are bullish on book. And the remaining right now, the plan is that they've already been put into a single-sided LP, where basically as the price of book rises, they're going to be, basically cashing out their book without any of those book tokens ever hitting the open market. But depending on what happens with volume, if we can get our volume up and I can get those OTC discussions accelerated with that group that wants to put the $750,000 into book, potentially I can use those funds to accelerate this OTC deal with the big holder of book, and we can make it happen even quicker. So basically just bullish all around for book. The TLDR is that essentially 0 of those tokens are going to hit the open market via sells, and I'm going to be acquiring as much of those for the Blue Treasury as I can, and for myself. And yeah, we're going to try and see if we can work out a further OTC. But a worst case scenario is that those tokens, roughly, like just to do some rough math, Blue Treasury is going to take, I think it's 6 million or a little over 6 million tokens. Individual wants to hold on to a couple million tokens, and I think the remainder is somewhere around like 10 or 11 million tokens. So those are already in single-sided liquidity. So you guys have nothing to worry about. Yeah, essentially just those tokens are automatically sold into the market as the price of book increases. So yeah, very, very bullish development for book, because like I said earlier, I think that's the only thing that's really been holding book back, is that, a lot of guys that are really paying attention to the metrics knew that those tokens could potentially hit the market at some point. So now that's no longer a concern whatsoever. So let me see this comment here. Now that everyone thinks BOK is a scam, how can we have hope even his trading volume isn't over 100,000? I'm not sure I quite understand that. I mean, if you mean book, I don't think that everyone thinks book is a scam. I mean, we just had a very volatile period where price went up and then price went down, caused a lot of liquidations, but it's not a scam. It's just a cascading liquidation. But I mean, yeah, I mean, ideally we want to get the book volume over 100,000. That's what the OTC group is looking for. So I'm hoping with this, in light of this news, once this gets out there, I think we can, book is going to really pick up in price. And I think that, volume is going to pick up as well. And, we just need to get volume up to higher levels, closer to 100,000. And then we'll be able to get an OTC deal going. I mean, they're willing to buy on the open market too, right? So they don't necessarily have to do an OTC. They're willing to buy open market with a lot of those funds. So, but again, for them to be interested again, we have to get volume back up to levels that we had it at before, which was a fair bit higher than where we're at right now. But I mean, it's nothing crazy. I think 50 to 100,000 average daily volume would be enough there. All right, let me make sure I covered everything there. Yeah, I mean, and I think I think I already touched on this, but a big part of this is just getting more skin in the game for the Blue protocol and for myself, right? So just to have those tokens be aligned with the development team, and and to have a lot more certainty around those tokens, I think it's a huge thing. So hope you guys feel the same way. All right, so that's what we got for book. Blue, got something super special for you guys in Blue. So, all right, where do I start? So I've got something really massive for the Blue community. Worked out a really special deal for you guys. I've been working on something behind the scenes that I haven't really told many people about, but I'm going to tell everybody about it right now. And essentially, what this is going to equate to is I've worked out a super special deal for the Blue community. So let's get right into it. So I guess first, let me tell you guys what I've been working on behind the scenes. So I'm on the core team of a project on another chain. I'm primarily doing smart contract work there. It's, unlike my current projects where, I'm kind of running like all aspects of the project. This other project, I'm, just one member of, a very competent, much bigger team. So it's a bit different from, the stuff that I already got going on, which means that there's less workload on me. But what we have is what I've been working on is probably like one of the biggest opportunities that I've ever witnessed since I've been in the whole crypto space. And I mean, you guys all know how popular DEXs can be, especially like the premier DEX on a chain. Well, a couple months ago, I was given the opportunity to join this team to basically create an Aerodrome fork on Abstract blockchain. Now, Abstract, they currently only have one DEX, and it's kind of like it's called Reservoir. It's kind of like just this company that will deploy a DEX onto any chain and just give you like a very vanilla like V2, V3 Uniswap DEX. So, most chains have like a bunch of like high quality DEXs on them that all have like all kinds of earning opportunities. Abstract, it's like the top 5-6 chain on DEX Screener all the time. They don't have a proper DEX like that, right? So the actual opportunity there is incredible. So I was very lucky to be, offered to be part of this team. And so essentially what we're doing is we're launching an Aerodrome fork on Abstract with 100% backing of the Abstract team, the guys running the actual blockchain. And, the team that's working on this is, they're working in overdrive. They've already secured deals with most of the major projects on Abstract. The traction there is incredible, right? All the main Abstract guys and guys from some major heavy hitter projects are all like, super in tune with like the X account, and they're, interacting with the tweets, and they're basically like everybody's super hyped for this to be ready. And, we're working to kind of get it finished off. It's, probably only a week or two away from being ready. So, so super exciting stuff. Now you guys are probably wondering, like, how does this tie in with Blue? So I'm going to show you more about the DEX and kind of like some of the traction in a second. But so what I've been able to work out for you guys is essentially the launch is going to work a lot like the Aerodrome launch. I mean, it is an Aerodrome fork, and Aerodrome is like massively successful on base chain. So you guys know me, if something's not broken, don't change it. So, a lot of the things that worked really well for Aerodrome, we're keeping it identical. So part of that is like an initial airdrop. So what Aerodrome did is they airdropped to so Aerodrome was based on Velodrome. So, I guess it was a slightly modified fork of Velodrome. So they were able to just airdrop all of their initial tokens like to Velodrome lockers, like so guys that were like holding locked Velo positions. Because our situation is a little bit different, we're doing a lot of different things in terms of the airdrop. So, that's not my responsibility. Somebody else on the team is handling this, but basically we're going to be airdropping like Aerodrome guys, a bunch of Abstract guys, and a bunch of different DeFi projects. There's a whole, web of different, protocols that we're going to be airdropping. But what I've been able to secure for you guys is a good chunk of the airdrop. And the way that we're going to do that is it's going to be based on your G Blue holdings. So the more G Blue that you are holding, the bigger your airdrop is going to be. And just to touch on, we had a question about it in the chat a little bit up here. I'm not sure where it went, but basically somebody asked, like, do you earn more APY in G Blue or S Blue? Well, they're both identical, right? They just track the rewards a little bit differently. So essentially you can see the staking index here is like 1.6. So what does that mean? It means that, actually I can just demonstrate on this wallet I got open. So I've got 19.6 G Blue here. So you can see if I go to unwrap that or convert it to S Blue, I'm getting 31 S Blue. So the way that G Blue works is basically my token count here of 19.67, that is static. My token count doesn't increase, but every 4 hours, what increases is how much S Blue I'll get if I unstake it, right? So essentially G Blue and S Blue, they both do that same exact thing for you. They just do it in a slightly different way. But just for tracking the airdrop, it's going to be super easy for us to just say, okay, it's all based on G Blue holdings. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get as much blue as possible, and you're going to want to stake your blue and convert your staked blue to G Blue. You're not going to have to do this like right now. We're going to do the snapshot sometime next week. I'm not going to tell you guys like the exact moment of the time of the snapshot, but it will be sometime next week. So you guys have a little bit of time to build up your G Blue positions. But yeah, we're just going to base it on your G Blue token price. Or sorry, I was reading a comment, threw me off. On your G Blue token count, right? So basically, I know a lot of you guys are already holding S Blue. Well, G Blue is basically the exact same thing, just in a different form. So yeah, just go ahead and convert that S Blue to G Blue. And anyone that wants, for one, like the way that we're doing this airdrop for the new protocol, the snapshots have already been taken for other projects that are getting airdropped. So it's, I've kind of worked out something really special for you guys where I'm kind of giving you the heads up in advance that a snapshot's happening next week. So this is an opportunity that none of the other projects had. We kind of just snapshotted holdings, and that's already set in stone. So you guys actually have a chance to build your position before the snapshot comes. And this is like the only way to get in on launch. It's either this or it's, you have to buy open market once the actual protocol launches. Let me answer some of these questions here. Will it help blue price? I mean, I certainly think so. If I'm doing a half decent job explaining the potential of this DEX, people should be going wild to increase their G Blue amounts. But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, and to be honest, like I'm gonna be watching, and the other core team members of the DEX are going to be watching, because depending on the action that we see, that'll show like how excited our community is about that project, right? So so the exact percentage of the airdrop hasn't been worked out yet. That there's a little bit of flexibility there, so we'll definitely see how excited the community is about this, and then that could influence how big the airdrop is. Let me just go through some of these comments here. Sounds to me like a positive move to remove the concentration from the one into. Yep. Oh, that's back about the book stuff. Yep. Yeah, I definitely think that's a super bullish development for book. Thanks for your feedback. Hi, build DEX is huge. Your reputation finally paid. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I was super lucky to get this opportunity. It's tough running a project by myself. So, to have the opportunity to work with a bunch of like super skilled guys where they're managing the community, they're managing the socials, they're managing the business development, all these areas where I'm not as strong, there we have like super skilled guys on the core team that are handling all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely looking great. This sounds like even bigger news. Abstracting the new DEX, airdrop beauty. 100%. This is going to be massive. It's massive, Aaron. As we told everyone, you need more blue. You can't have enough blue. 1,000%. When is the proposed launch of the DEX? So there's still a couple things that have to be completed. So we're basically putting a couple finishing touches on things before we can get the audit started. So I'd say realistically, we're looking at 2 to 3 weeks, give or take a week on either side. Which token will be dropped in the AD? Like, you mean like which token are you going to receive, or what? So basically, like, it's going to be almost identical to Aerodrome, right? So like Aerodrome has the Aero token, which has like a 1 billion market cap right now, or maybe it pulled back a little bit today. I'm not sure. But basically, you guys, what we're going to be airdropping is going to be essentially a locked position of the protocol token. So basically, that's essentially that lets you earn weekly for forever in perpetuity, right? So basically the equivalent of like a VE Aero. So basically this is bullish for a lot of reasons, right? So for anyone that's not familiar with Aerodrome, because I mean, the way that we're going to work is basically identical to Aerodrome. It's a full-blown flywheel between traders, liquidity providers, and then like the token holders of the DEX. So, it creates big incentive between all three parties to, basically to keep the flywheel going, to keep funds inside of the system. You have protocols that want to be incentivizing or bribing on their pools. And then you have, the locked token holders that are voting for pools and receiving bribes. Then you have the liquidity providers that are able to stake their LP tokens, whether that be like V2, volatile, traditional liquidity, or concentrated liquidity. Anyone here that's familiar with Aerodrome would know exactly what I'm talking about. But it's a full-blown flywheel that has ridiculous potential. Will you let us know when the snapshot will take place? So I'm not going to tell you guys exactly when. It's going to be sometime next week. I don't want people to game it. I don't want to see like a ton of buy pressure right before and then, a bunch of sell pressure after. So it's going to be sometime next week. So I just say, get yourself ready in advance. Oh, it looks like someone in our chat already answered this. So it's G Blue. So should I transfer my S Blue into G Blue? Yep, you're going to want to hold all of your blue. You're going to want to hold as G Blue. Just like Mark said here, it's still staked and earning. You're still 100% earning on it as G Blue. It just tracks it a little bit differently. It's a lot easier for us to do a snapshot on G Blue than it is on S Blue. So that's the reason why we're doing G Blue. And again, you can, just like everything on Blue Protocol, you can transfer in and out of anything without any fees, right? So you can go blue to S Blue to G Blue and then back to S Blue, then do that as much as you want. There's no penalty or fees at any point there. So you are sort of making X2 for all G Blue holders. Maybe could you reword that question? I'm not quite following what you're asking there. Sorry, late to the AMA. So we should convert S Blue to G Blue now, right? Yep. There's no like ultra rush. We're not going to do a snapshot until next week, but there's no reason to delay. So I'd suggest having as much G Blue as you possibly can. And also G Blue is just a great thing to have anyways. It's obviously earning the rebases. Mike says, do we got to get the airdrop on BSC mainnet? So in the same wallet like we bought Blue with? So it's going to be linked with the same wallet, but it's not going to be on BSC. It's like that. It's on Abstract chain. So Abstract is actually, let me show you guys some stuff. Actually, I'll get through these comments first and then I'll show you guys a bit more. So I keep G Blue token 1 week and after I transfer an S Blue, correct? You could. If you're holding S Blue, there's no reason to, you could just hold G Blue. They both do the exact same thing. So, you don't have to transfer back to S Blue. That's up to you. Do we need to set up a new wallet to receive this airdrop? Nope. It's going to work with the same wallet as whatever you're holding G Blue in. So basically whatever wallet you want to receive an airdrop in, that's the wallet that you should be holding G Blue in, if that makes sense. And G Blue doesn't need staking to earn rewards. So G Blue is, okay, so G Blue and S Blue, if you have G Blue or S Blue, you're earning 100% of the staking rewards. The G Blue token, just the way that it works, it makes it more composable with DeFi, and it makes it easier for us to do a snapshot on it, right? So it's like, I'm not sure how many other ways I can explain this. I've already gone over it so many times. Just like I did in the example here, right? Like I got 19.67 G Blue, which if I unstake that right now, or if I unwrap that to S Blue, I'm going to get 31.65. So if I was just holding 31.65 S Blue, every 4 hours, this goes up by, the 0.28%. If I'm holding G Blue, my G Blue balance doesn't go up, but the amount of S Blue I can trade it for goes up by that exact same amount. So it's essentially the exact same thing. Hope that's clear. You will be airdropping the equivalent of G Blue tokens on Abstract blockchain. So if I'm holding $100 of G Blue, I get $100. So, I can't speak on token values or token counts really, because I know roughly what the launch price is going to be on Abstract, and the token's going to start off a lot cheaper than Blue, right? Like Blue's like $14 right now. This token's going to launch at under a cent. So, I mean, I'm not making any promises about what the value of the airdrop is going to be, because I mean, I don't know what the value of Blue is going to be next week. I don't know what the value of I think that the value of the airdrop, I believe, is going to go up substantially once the protocol launches, right? Just because the only way to get those tokens is to either be part of some sort of the airdrop or to buy them on the open market. So we should see a lot of buy pressure. I mean, if you look at the Aerodrome launch, you know, it looks like they did a 10 or 20x, you know, right at launch. So don't quote me on that though, because I'm not 100% sure exactly how much they went up on launch. But will MetaMask wallet be okay for abstract token airdrop? Yep. So on abstract, while they do, a lot of their chain is about like being retail friendly and being like super easy to use. So they do have something called the abstract global wallet, which we're going to be supporting on our DEX. But you can also use traditional wallets, right? So you can use MetaMask, you could use Rabby, you could use any wallet that you're using now. You're able to just switch chain to abstract and it'll work over there. And they use ETH as a native token, in case anyone was curious. S Blue value changes, whereas G Blue stays the same, hence used for Snapshot. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Now that you mentioned that, a good way to look at this, I guess, is on this page here, we show the G Blue index. So this index is increasing every 4 hours. So the G Blue price is telling you what one G Blue is worth. So basically you multiply the current price of Blue times the G Blue index to get the G Blue price. So with S Blue, your S Blue is basically the same as Blue, except for it grows with rebases. So your S Blue is always worth the same as Blue, right? Whereas G Blue, your G Blue is worth the price of Blue multiplied by this index. I think I was trying to make it simpler, but I think I might have made it more complicated by saying it that way, but hopefully that's kind of clear. Does the protocol hold G Blue, and will the protocol treasuries also be airdropped the new DEX tokens? Well, it's like I'm part of the core team on the DEX, so I'm gonna have my own involvement there. But I mean, the protocol has small amounts of G Blue, nothing crazy. This is mainly for the users. It would be extra bullish to have the protocol holding G Blue to get the airdrop tokens as part of the treasury. No. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like, so until we switch the ownership of the Blue protocol to be like 100% decentralized, like I'm essentially controlling the treasury. So I mean, like, yeah, while I could mint some Blue and put it into G Blue, I think it's best to have this focused on just the users. So, you know, if for example, like if there's I'm just throwing out example numbers here, so don't quote me on this, but let's just say the airdrop is 2.5 million tokens. I don't want the protocol to like snatch a bunch of those from the users, right? I want that to be spread among our actual real users. So hope that answers that. And like, so the great thing about this is that like a lot of the other DeFi type projects that are going to be getting airdrops are, they're great projects to get into the new DEX, but we don't have a great way to communicate with like 100% of the user base of those projects. So for example, like Aerodrome users are going to have the ability to get airdropped, but we don't run Aerodrome. So we can't just like make an announcement to all the Aerodrome users to, hey, come check out our DEX. But like for Blue, I can actually communicate with you guys and say, hey, this is what's going on. You guys all qualify for an airdrop, and there's huge potential there, and you guys are going to get free tokens there that you can earn on in perpetuity, and play around with the DEX and get in on what's going to be the liquidity layer of abstract moving forward. Again, like I probably am not doing a great job explaining this. Like literally, the team of abstract, we're in chats with them. They are super pumped about this. They can't wait for this to be ready. This is going to be integrated into the abstract global wallet. Like this is going to be integrated and be the premier DEX of the abstract chain. And again, we got guys on the team that are doing hard work in business development, and they've got, I don't want to say all the major projects, but I'd say the majority of major projects on abstract are already on board and ready to move liquidity over. Got a question here. Any alpha on increasing overall volume for Book, Blue, and Bud? Yeah. So, I mean, I think a lot of the things I'm talking about today should really pick up volume on a bunch of those tokens. But we've also got, other things going on like marketing, and I'm going to get into a few of those other things a bit later. Do we benefit from DEX fees? Yeah. So basically, everyone that gets airdropped, you're going to have essentially like a VE token, like a locked token, which then you basically would you're going to essentially you make money from the fees, right? Like it's kind of a lot to explain. Maybe like if you check out Aerodrome and like look at like how a VE arrow holder can earn, like there are different earning opportunities. That's basically you're going to vote on different on pools where you think there's going to be a lot of volume. That's a whole nother AMA to talk about, just like the whole flywheel there. But yeah, essentially you're going to earn DEX fees. Yeah. Actually, let me bring in some of the other info I have here. So this is Abstract Network. Here's the portal. Well, I guess you guys can log into this yourself, but yeah, here's mine. I got XP. I don't have a huge account here. This is just my wallet that I set up just for testing. But yeah, I mean, essentially you can swap, you can, they got spotlighted different dApps here. You can trade. So right now this is going through Reservoir. This is going to go through our DEX in the future, right? It's probably going to go through both, but we fully plan on having the majority of liquidity on our protocol. So this is primarily going to route through us, and, Abstract gets tons and tons of volume. So very exciting stuff. Here's the protocol itself. It's called Aborian, and it's at aborian.finance. And you can see, right now we just got the landing page as we build out the rest of the project. But very exciting stuff. And here's the X account, which already has incredible traction. A lot of huge profile guys following and interacting with it already. And, we've kind of just barely started getting the word out on it. So it's really, really impressive to see some of the traction that we're getting there. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that part. You guys have any questions about that? Because let me drop some of these links into the chat. Borean site looks awesome. Yeah, we got some super skilled guys on the team. Super pumped about it. But yeah, they've been killing it. Is the requirement to hold GBlue until Abstract launch? So the snapshot's going to happen next week. So, I mean, I'd suggest just holding GBlue anyways. But yeah, I mean, the requirement for the actual airdrop is going to be holding GBlue throughout all of next week. Yep. Yeah, there's the option to delegate votes. Basically, every single feature that Aerodrome has, we have. So what we need to do is only accumulate the GBlue, right? Yep, 100%. Just the more GBlue you have, the better off you're going to do in the airdrop, and that's the only requirement there. So a couple other things related to Blue. And again, if you guys have any questions or comments about this, I'd love to field them. Just let me know. Could GBlue be transferred to Aborian for buys? So this is something that's, the couple guys that I had told about this, they had brought that up. And I think it's, there's a lot that's going to be going on with Aborian for launch. So, I think that, well, I don't quite fully understand your question. It's a little bit, it's not quite clear what you mean exactly there. But if you mean like having like GBlue available on the DEX, like I think that's something that we can definitely do in the future. Like have create a have a bridge where GBlue can be on Abstract, and then we could have an incentivized pair of GBlue plus ETH or something like that. So, but that's something we can look into in the future. What about Bond? Yeah, I'll talk about those real quick. So we don't need to create a new wallet or else, right? Keep current address and wallet and we could get the airdrop. Yep, that's going to work perfectly fine. Well, that's the only way you can do it, right? So we're going to basically we see all the wallet addresses that are holding GBlue, and then that's how we're going to correspond the airdrop. So it's going to be your exact same wallet that's holding GBlue. So just make sure you're holding GBlue in the wallet that you want to receive those. Aaron Bond. Airdrop is very bullish, guys. Yeah, it's, I'm not sure how good of a job I'm doing explaining it, but it's bullish beyond words. Wrapped GBlue can be transferred to other EVM chains. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the whole purpose of GBlue. Well, I mean there's several purposes to GBlue, but like the super crazy good thing about GBlue is GBlue staking index, or like the ratio, is always increasing every 4 hours, right? So we can have GBlue being bridgeable to another chain, and that way your GBlue can be on another chain and you're still earning all those rebases, right? So basically we could have composability with other DeFi projects or just being a liquidity pair on another chain, and your GBlue is still earning all those rebases. So that's one of the few things that GBlue like really excels at. It's also for governance, right? So like if we do some sort of voting system in the future, which we will set up in the future. What is the future plan for Blue? Like reverse bond, I guess. Yeah, I mean, so that's something that we're going to look into in the future. Like we're still super early in Blue. We definitely shouldn't be talking about reverse bonds yet. We should be looking at building up the treasury, not depleting the treasury this early on. But yeah, I mean, definitely in the future, that's something that we can definitely look into. So other happenings for Blue. I submitted a CoinGecko application yesterday for Blue. I know I was going to do that a couple weeks back, but I kind of slipped my mind. But better late than never. But yeah, for Blue, if we can get the trading volume up on it a little bit, that would be super beneficial. I know CoinGecko, they want to see some volume. I mean, our volume is not horrible, but it has dropped off a little bit. One thing that I've done actually with my own DEX screener is like I'm looking at the V2 pair now. I think I'm not sure if today it has more volume, but yeah, I mean, so today it's got a little bit less volume on the V2 pair, but so yesterday I moved 90,000 from V3 to V2, and I'm going to continue to migrate the liquidity over to V2. So as of right now, the V3 pair does have a little bit more volume on the 24-hour. I think that's just because some bigger trades went through, but the V2 is definitely going to be our primary pair moving forward. And so that 90,000 that I moved over into V2, I immediately dropped that into the treasury. So our treasury went up by about 90K yesterday, and our Blue BNB holdings went up substantially. So I'll continue to do that and keep building up our treasury and getting that V3 over into V2. Love the utility behind the GBlue and still being able to earn. Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. DEX Screener or DEX Tools, which is better? I mean, I like DEX Screener. You can probably tell because that's what I'm always using. DEX Tools feels a little bit clunky and a little bit slow. I mean, both are good. I think DEX Screener is just a little bit more straightforward. A little easier to find what I'm looking for. Did you hear back any more news from that previous investor investing in Blue? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to there. Our treasury funds in addition to the liquidity. So this has been explained a little bit in the past, but I'll go over it again. So basically the treasury is holding the liquidity for Blue. So the way that like an Olympus DAO fork works is that basically it's a treasury backed reserve token. So basically the whole bonding setup, the whole premise of the protocol essentially is to build up a big treasury that backs the Blue tokens. So V3 liquidity, because it's an NFT receipt token, it's not compatible really with the way that the treasury works of Blue. So that's why we're converting the V3 to V2 liquidity for that reason, among a couple others. But so the actual treasury owns the liquidity. So basically like the treasury owns, big positions in Blue BNB and Blue Book. But then the Treasury also has single assets. So there's a bunch of USDC here. But again, like I mentioned about the book in the book segment of the AMA, we're going to be using the majority of this USDC to secure a big position of book for the Treasury. So what you guys are basically going to see is, right now there's not much book in here, like $1,400 worth. And right now there's $32,000 worth of USDC. So we're going to see this number go down substantially, and we're going to see this number jump by that same amount value-wise. But then because of all the bullish developments for book, I think that the book price is going to appreciate. So I think overall that's like super bullish for building the Blue Treasury. So what's the difference between V2 and V3? That's a long conversation. Essentially, V2 is full range liquidity. So I mean, if you've ever opened like a V3 position, you have the option of setting your price range. So basically in V3 you can set full range, but I mean V2 is like forced full range. So I don't know. That's I've talked about this quite a bit in the past. You might want to refer to some of the old AMAs for. Let me get rid of that Ender guy. He's saying things that aren't true. All right. Taken care of. Just converted S Blue to G Blue and works seamlessly. Now to get more blue. Yes, sir. Can you explain the reason behind the migration of V3 to V2? I mean, I've explained this in a lot of detail in the past, and I kind of just explained it again. Basically V3, for one, like we need to have liquidity on the whole entire price range. So that's what that's all V2 can do. So V2 just kind of makes more sense. The way that we launched Blue, it made sense to launch with V3, but for long term, it makes more sense to have V2. And on top of that, the Treasury is not compatible with V3 LPs, but it's fully compatible with V2 LPs. So just to name a couple of reasons there. So, I mean, just to show you guys, let's I have the V2 LP up here. Let's look at the holders of this. And this, I'm going to show you guys the power of protocol-owned liquidity and bonding, right? So if you look at the holders of what we're looking at right now is this LP right here, the Blue BNB LP V2. 99.4% of that, this is the Blue Treasury right here. So you can see the token count 0.036. Lines up perfectly, 0.036. And the only other holder that has anything at all is the PancakeSwap fee address, which has like about 0.5%. So this is the power of protocol-owned liquidity, right? So I talked about this a little bit when Blue launched, but a lot of other protocols, what they do is they incentivize farming liquidity, which basically means you're paying your users just to rent the liquidity. But with our bonding systems, we're basically using Blue tokens, or G Blue, I guess it is, to buy liquidity off of our users. And that allows us to basically get a proper return for those tokens, right? We're not just paying to rent liquidity where you can just withdraw that liquidity afterwards and then dump the token. We're paying to actually buy that liquidity off you. And this is what you end up with. You end up with the protocol owning basically all the liquidity. And you'll see that if we look at the other pair, we'll see it's basically the same thing. So this is the Blue Book LP. Let's go do the exact same check. And we see a very similar story, although the PancakeSwap V2 address has a little bit more. But basically between Blue Treasury and the PancakeSwap V2 address, it's very nearly 100% on both. Are you thinking burning more Blue token like last time for help price? Not sure what you mean by that. Oh, the burn. So again, that burn, like I know that basically that burn was more of an optics thing, right? Like again, like until the protocol is controlled, decentralized, I basically have control of the Treasury, which means that I can burn tokens, I can mint tokens, right? So unless you're buying tokens to burn them, it doesn't really do much, right? So like I like seeing the higher market cap. So I just had like those 40,000 tokens in the multi-sig that were never going to get touched. But then I realized people don't like seeing those tokens there. So that's why I burned them. It didn't help price directly. It's something where like maybe the optics of it might make some people feel better about it. But I kind of like just having a higher market cap. That's why I didn't initially burn those like right out of the gate. But yeah, I mean, just doing a burn in general, it doesn't really do anything, right? Because I mean, like I can burn tokens, I can mint tokens. It's, to get the price up, we need buys is what we need. Converted my S Blue to G Blue, easy thing to do. Yep, it's super straightforward. How does a wrap book sound having cross-chain collateral book, especially on a chain like Base, for example? So book has no reason to be wrapped. Book is composable as it is, right? Like, most tokens you don't need to wrap unless there's something special going on with them, right? So like in our case, when you stake Blue for S Blue is a rebasing token. A rebasing token is not compatible with bridging. I mean, you're going to lose out on your rebases. It's not compatible with a lot of DEXs. There's a lot of things that a rebasing token is not compatible with. So it makes sense for us to wrap S Blue into G Blue because you can benefit off those rebases. But now you have a standard ERC20 token that's not a rebasing token that you can then use to bridge and still earn rebases. You could use it in liquidity pools. You could, basically anything that you can do with any token, you can do with G Blue. But Book doesn't have rebases, right? Book is a standard ERC20, so there's no reason to wrap it. Like Book, we could just make it bridgeable, right? Just as it is. Basically, there's no reason to introduce an extra step unless there's actually like a strong reason to have it wrapped. Just converted S Blue to G Blue, but now showing as no balance in both. Refresh your page, man. It shouldn't be the case. I mean, you got to either have S Blue or G Blue. You can't both disappear. So in terms of bonds, I know that I said that I was going to be watching the bond markets and, getting ready to activate some new ones. I'm still looking for a little bit more positive price movement before I start getting some more bond markets set up. For the guys that are dying for bond markets, I mean, I'm not sure exactly why. I mean, it's the bond markets are basically in effect trading blue price for increasing the size of the treasury. But I'm assuming most users probably prefer the higher blue price than the higher treasury. So bonds are kind of counterproductive for what your goals would be, like from my perspective anyways. But I think that, once the price of blue starts to really move up more, then it's going to make sense to introduce more bond markets. And I'm going to introduce them a lot smaller than we did before, right? So like maybe like a couple hundred blue available per day, not thousands. Have the bonds been helping the protocol in your opinion? Good question. So, I've talked about this quite a bit before, but it's something where setting the right parameters on the bonds is really tough. There's like 4 or 5 different like critical parameters that you got to get it right. And like we had 3 different bond markets. So, I mean, I think overall the bond markets were successful. Like we built, the treasury had almost nothing in it before, and now we're up to like almost 500,000. Not all of that came from bonding though. Like I'd say probably like maybe 200,000 of that came from bonding, maybe a little bit more. So, I mean, it definitely did a great job building up the treasury, but at the cost of a little bit of blue price. Was it helping? I mean, I think it was important that we built up that initial treasury, but I think like to introduce more bonds right now, I don't think it's like super pressing to get the treasury bigger right this moment. I mean, what's our market cap right now? 1.3 million. So, I mean, our treasury is 430. Oh, that's not the treasury. Treasury's 464,000, right? So, sorry, the comment was covering that. I mean, we have a pretty big treasury for our market cap. So, I think we can, I think it was helpful, but I think we can probably hold off until the price appreciates a bit more. Did the majority of bonders dump after the lockup period, or are they still holding? That's a good question, right? Like I think that I think you got 2 groups of guys that are doing bonds. I think the kind that I would prefer is the kind of guys that are like they want to buy blue anyways, and they see, okay, well, I'm going to buy blue and stake it. So really, if I can get blue at a discount and it's locked up for 4 or 5 or 6 days, that doesn't matter because I'm going to stake it anyways, right? Because you earn your rebases while you're in that lockup period. So I think that's the preferred user group where they're just trying to get blue at a discount and they plan to hold it. But I think that, as we saw with the price, I think a lot of guys did buy bonds planning to loop it, right? So like to get like a a 10, 15, 20% discount on blue, wait out the 4 days, sell it, and then repeat. That's not a sustainable thing, because obviously if we just keep having massive chunks of blue getting sold every couple of days, that's not good for the price. And also, like, we had 3 different bond markets and we had unlocks happening all the time. So that makes it not as great for other bond holders. Because, like, for example, you get a bunch of guys buying bonds on day 1. Well, now the guys that buy bonds on day 2, we didn't yet have the price decline due to the guys that bought on the first day selling. But now the guys on day 2 and 3 and 4 are buying blue bonds, and their tokens are going to be locked up, while those guys that bought on day 1 are getting their tokens unlocked, and then they're going to dump them and try to get back into bonds, and it kind of creates like a negative loop. So I think that can all be addressed with different parameters. So like having much smaller amounts of blue available in bonds, which basically means that, instead of being able to buy like 200 blue and the bond price not moving, if there's only 200 available per day, like, so if like there's like 10% as many available as what we had before, then, the price of the bond moves up a lot quicker with any buys, right? So it makes a lot less available at those discounted prices. Refresh many times there and still no balance in both. All right, well, I'm not sure what to tell you. I mean, I know it's working properly. Make sure you're in pro mode just so you can see your balances. I mean, unless you sent the token somewhere else, or unless you're on a scam website that drained you, I mean, the token's got to be there. It's a pretty black and white thing. But I mean, if you're still having trouble, you can reach out in the Telegram and someone can help you. Yeah, so let's get that volume up. Let's get that CoinGecko listing approved. They're probably going to be reviewing it sometime today or tomorrow. So let's get that volume up and this work for mine. S to G, no issues. Yeah, I mean, we got lots of G Blue holders. It's definitely working fine. But yeah, so I'll be watching closely and getting some price increase on blue. Definitely make me open to setting up some new bond markets. And we're in discussion still with a lot of big marketing guys. Nick's really taking the lead on that, and we're shooting ideas back and forth about who we're going to work with, and we are in discussions with a couple big names. We've been doing some small feelers, but we got some more bigger spends coming up. So definitely a lot's coming for the whole ecosystem. All right, guys. Well, we've been going for about an hour now. I think we're about ready to conclude here. Congrats on the triple alpha news you delivered today. Keep crushing it, Aaron. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, markets are really heating up. ETH, it looks like it's ready to put in a new all-time high soon. So very exciting times. And, can't wait to see what all the protocols are doing, once we really get into the heat of the bull market. Future is blue and bright. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Aaron, and keep working, my man. You know it. Never going to stop. Let's all make lots of money this bull market. Thanks for the AMA. Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned Nick was going to join me, but he has a bunch of family over, so he wasn't able to jump in today. But I had a lot to keep you guys busy, so I'm sure he'll be back around next week. To everyone, buy up that blue and let's get that volume up for CoinGecko. Yeah, let's they're going to be looking at it anytime now, so let's get that volume up. And don't want to get that email that says try again in a week. I want them to accept that. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate all your hard work for the community. My pleasure. Thanks, Aaron, for the alpha. You bet. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'll be around the Telegram if you guys have any follow-up questions. And just to recap real quick, I am going to be, on behalf of the Blue Treasury, I'm going to be doing that OTC to get a whole bunch of book into the Treasury. So in the next hour or two or a couple hours, you're going to see the USDC count a lot lower here, and you're going to see the book count skyrocket here, which is going to be super bullish for the value of the Treasury as the book price increases. So very exciting times. But yeah, I'll see you guys all around the community. Thanks everyone for joining in, and hope you guys like the news I had to share today. Take care, guys.